Welcome to Sage Audio. Today we're covering how to mix frequencies. But first, if you have a mix that you need mastered, send it to us to receive a free mastered sample of it with the link in the description. Understanding and using masking. For the first 3 chapters, let's look at some lesser discussed technical aspects of mixing frequencies. Masking occurs when powerful lower frequencies cover up or cause phase cancellation to less powerful, higher frequencies. With this in mind, we can amplify or attenuate some of these lower frequencies to either increase or decrease the effect masking is having on our higher frequencies. For example, I could dip 200 Hz on my vocal to reduce masking in the high frequencies, or I could amplify the high frequencies to achieve a similar effect. Let's listen to how dipping 200 Hz in a vocal suddenly makes the higher frequencies open up. Understanding zero latency phase. Whenever we use a zero latency equalizer, we need to keep in mind how that's going to affect the phase, which will subsequently affect the frequency response. For example, if we observe the phase of a zero latency filter, we'll notice that it's altered when frequencies are altered. This isn't a bad thing, but it helps to know that unexpected changes are being made. Let's listen to filters in zero latency and compare it to linear phase and see if we can notice a difference. If you're enjoying the video, hit the like button. It helps us bring you more videos. Fletcher-Munson and EQ analysis. If we consider the Fletcher-Munson curve and compare the response of most modern mixes, we can begin to see a pattern of how frequencies are mixed. Let's say we're listening to music at a normal loudness, our ears would need about 10 to 15% more bass than high mids. That is, if we want to hear them at the same perceived loudness. If we observe our analyzer, we'll notice a similar downward slope from left to right, in which the bass frequencies have been mixed louder and the high mids a little lower. Although each mix is different, this downward slope will typically exist due to how we perceive frequencies. Let's use a tilt EQ to shift the spectrum in the opposite direction and notice how quickly it becomes unbalanced sounding. Important vocal frequencies. Next, let's spend some chapters covering more practical info. When mixing vocal frequencies, note that you can use a high-pass filter to right below your fundamental. Roughly 200 Hz is where you get your vocal's warmth, 500 is where you'll find vowel pronunciation, 750 to 1 kHz is where you'll find nasally tones, and 2 kHz to 3 kHz will be the vocal's presence. Above that, from 5 to 12 kHz, we have potential vocal sibilance, and anything above that is considered air, which is unnatural sounding when boosted, but pleasant nonetheless. Let's take a listen to a vocal and adjust these areas. Only a small percentage of people that watch our videos are subscribed, so if you're enjoying the video, consider subscribing. It's free and you can always change your mind. Important drum frequencies. A kick drum sub will be between 40 to 60 Hz, its most percussive aspect at 80 to 100 Hz, and the beater in snap will be between 1.5 kHz to 3.5 kHz. For the snare, 150 Hz to 250 Hz is the body, 1.2 kHz to 3 kHz is the snap, and above is buzzing and air. Cymbals will vary but are typically higher in frequencies, and toms are usually tuned to specific notes with their fundamentals and overtones in the mids to high mids. Let's take a listen to a full drum loop with these areas affected. Mixing bass and kick frequencies. Bass and kick can be difficult to mix, however, there's a lot of room that we can make for the two. Kick frequencies are typically static, so their fundamental will remain the same, but basses change notes, and their fundamentals will change when the new note is played. A good way to blend the two is to dip the kick's fundamental on the bass track, and then add some harmonic distortion to the bass to psychoacoustically replace that frequency. Let's take a listen to this strategy and see if it improves the balance between the two. Creating lo-fi or analog sounds. If you want any instrument to have a lo-fi quality or maybe sound like classic equipment, all you need to do is isolate the mid frequencies by attenuating low and high frequencies. For example, the transducer in an old telephone can't replicate high or low frequencies, so let's cut both. The same concept can be applied to emulate the sound of any old or lo-fi equipment. Let's listen to this filter and add a little distortion and see if it's reminiscent of an older telephone. If you're enjoying the channel, join the community with the link in the description. How distortion affects frequencies. Distortion creates harmonics, which are frequencies generated above the fundamental. Sometimes these are called overtones. When we use distortion to add these harmonics or overtones in, we're amplifying the frequencies at which these harmonics are located. So if the fundamental is 100 Hz, a second ordered harmonic would be at 200 Hz. As a result, 200 Hz would be amplified by this harmonic. Let's take a listen to second order harmonic distortion and notice how it amplifies frequencies above the fundamental. How compression affects frequencies. Just like how equalization can cause or alleviate masking, compression can reveal or cover up certain frequencies. For example, if I compress a snare with a strong response at 200 Hz, this attenuation will likely open up the mids to high mids simply because 200 Hz is less prevalent. Let's experiment with this concept by compressing 200 Hz on a full mix and pay attention to the higher frequencies. Fast attack and releases spectral effect. Last up, let's talk about how certain compression settings will dynamically amplify frequencies. When we set a quick attack and release under 10 milliseconds and 50 milliseconds respectively, we create distortion whenever the compressor is triggered. If I set a less than 1 millisecond attack and less than 10 millisecond release, I'd achieve significant dynamic distortion. Like we covered earlier, this distortion is really harmonics that amplify specific frequencies. So in short, with these settings, I'm attenuating frequencies when compression occurs, but also adding frequencies due to the distortion. Let's take a listen and notice how the timbre of the compressed signal changes. If you have a mix that you need mastered, send it to us to receive a free mastered sample of it with the link in the description. Thank you so much for watching.